Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Easton Cook and I have not filmed a video since February. Life has been lifing. From dealing with work, a breakup, taking care of the house, just life in general. It's been hectic. And also I haven't been motivated to do this. So it is good to jump back into this. But in this video, I am going to talk about my trip to South Africa. I will give you a play-by-play just talking about everything I did every single day. And I'll try and put a lot of the information and links in the description below. That way, if anything interests you or stands out, you can go ahead and check it out. Now, before I dive in, make sure and subscribe, like the video. It really does help the process. Man, it's good to be back. Now, let's talk about it. My trip to Johannesburg. I flew Delta from Atlanta to Johannesburg, actually Delta's longest route, fun fact, and it was a great flight. As a matter of fact, as a flight attendant, this route is legendary. Honestly, ask any flight attendant, they're gonna tell you. They're like, oh yeah, that is like the senior route. That's the route that everybody goes for. During the flight, I got a decent amount of sleep. A little trick to beating jet lag for me is to sleep whenever you want during the flight. Now, don't force yourself to sleep. Don't take pills to sleep. I'm talking sleep naturally. And then when you get in, don't sleep until 10 p.m. local time at the destination, because if you fight sleep, then you'll be exhausted by that night. But if you go ahead and take a nap when you get in, you will be so botched up when it comes to your sleep schedule. You're gonna wake up at 3:30 a.m. and just starving. It's gonna happen, trust me. Got to Johannesburg, or Joburg as I might call it. First day I didn't do too much, and this is pretty normal for my flight schedule. Whenever I travel a long distance and I get into the destination, I usually don't schedule anything for that day except just chilling at the Airbnb, or I'll check in, and then just eating. That's about it. Might go walk around the city if it's walkable, but no big activity that day. I don't want to be stressed out the moment I get in. Some people are like, plan. The moment we get in, we drop our bags off and then we have to go to whatever. That's just not me. I say just take it easy day one. I've said this in a previous video. I do prefer Airbnb internationally. It gives you more of a local feel, and I prefer hotels domestically. But anywho, the next day in Johannesburg, we went on a safari. And I do say we because this trip was taken with my neighbor, who also works for the same airline I do. It's wild. We actually had the same amount of time off, and so we just kind of talked and we're like, hey, we go to the same church. The church that we go to is holding kind of a, I don't want to call it a conference because it was only one day, but I'll call it a conference in Johannesburg and Cape Town. You want to go? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So we just made a plan and we hopped on a flight and we went. But back to the story, we went on the safari the next day and we saw so many different animals. We saw kudu, we saw giraffes, rhinos, elephants, zebras, and it was great. I will say, however, it was a one-time experience for me. I thought it was, again, amazing. I don't know if I would do it again necessarily. Glad I went, just had it built up differently in my head, I guess. Also got crazy sunburnt, y'all. The sun is different over there. I had my arm hanging out of the vehicle, and the sun was burning like this part of my arm. It was so bad. I recommend sunscreen. Also, your dollar goes very far in South Africa, so that was really neat. A lot of places do take card and Apple Pay, but have some cash on you just in case. And day 3, my favorite day in Johannesburg. Now, my neighbor did not go with me. I did this on my own, but I got to play with lion cubs, and get this is insane. I got to walk with lions. Yeah. Walk with, like, walk with lions. These lions were not defanged, declawed, nothing. They were lions. Y'all, one of the coolest experiences of my life. I would do this again and again and again. It was amazing. The place I went to was called, I'm gonna try this, Ukatula Lodge and Game Reserve. I'm gonna put it in the description below because I may have botched that name. But legit, you enter into this wilderness, which is just an enclosure, but it's massive. And the sign says stay in your vehicle because you might encounter free roaming lions. It was amazing. Of course, you just want to respect the rules, and they look forward to their food, and you're good to go. But the first thing you do on this tour is you play with the lion cubs, and this is really, really cool. And how I found out about this, by the way, and how I got the tour guide's contact who took me, and the trip was like an hour and a half drive out of Johannesburg, was I just got it from another flight attendant. Flight attendants talk about all their experiences, and there's kind of a network out there, another really cool portion and part of the job. Highly recommend his company. I'll put that in the description below so that you can contact him if you ever found yourself in South Africa. But I loved the entire experience. The lion cubs were cute, they were chill, they were obviously well taken care of, and that truly does matter to me if you're gonna go somewhere where they have these animals. And then I was put in an enclosure with cheetahs, which is awesome. It turns out, and I found this out on the tour, that cheetahs will attack small children indiscriminately because the cheetahs are bigger than the children. However, cheetahs won't just attack adults indiscriminately because they realize that the adults have like a little more power, if you will. However, if you antagonize a cheetah, obviously they're going to attack you. So don't go out there being like, well, Easton said I'm fine, and then get attacked. Or if they feel like they have the upper hand, they'll attack you. Again, cheetahs were well taken care of. That was very clear. Going into the enclosure was voluntary, so you didn't have to do it, but everybody in my group definitely did, including my tour guide, which I thought was great. After that, they'll take you to different animal enclosures that you cannot go into, so you see hyenas and a few other animals. But then the main event, and this part is I can't. They give you a stick and they give you a safety briefing, and the safety briefing is very simple. It is, don't separate from the pack. So while we're walking, do not get fearful and just kind of walk on your own, because what happens is lions naturally see a member of a group separating and see it as kind of the weakest link, the easy prey, and their instinct might kick in, and it just might be like a primal instinct. And even though they're used to humans, all of a sudden they see this target and they're like, I'm gonna get it. I followed this rule very closely, and the stick is just to pound the ground, because they are taught as cubs that when the stick hits the ground, it's kind of a territorial thing, so it keeps the lion away from you, or it's supposed to. But yeah, wild experience. I would do it again and again. There aren't enough words to describe how incredible this was. It was amazing. It was about $180 or so, and the price does get smaller the more people are in your group. However, since it was just me, I think this was pretty maxed out at 180-ish. And after all of this, that night we went to Trump's Steakhouse. And no, not our president, it was just called Trump's Steakhouse. Y'all, it was amazing. I'm talking, you could get Wagyu steak for like $60, and in the States, you're looking at maybe $150 for the same amount. Highly recommend Trump's. It was incredible. It's a fancy food experience. It's in the mall, but like kind of separate and apart. It's just like attached. With the US dollar, very reasonably priced. And then the next day, we spent time doing a self-guided safari. This, I would argue, was actually better than the safari tour that we went on the second day. You basically drive into another enclosure, and I'm using the word enclosure, but it's not like here in America. I'm talking, it was land that is just wide open. And you drive in your personal vehicle, you pay the entrance fee, and you just go. The roads are not paved, so I'm talking like a lion will just kind of cross your vehicle, or a giraffe will kind of come up to the vehicle. It is all open. And the car that my friend and I had was just the cheapest rental from Hertz. It was standard, because all cars are basically standard unless you want to pay a premium for automatic, but it handled just fine within the safari, and I'm talking, it was bumpy. We saw so many of the same animals in the safari. However, we also saw lions, and it was really neat, because when you drive up right next to the lions. The lions could approach your vehicle if they want to. You are supposed to keep your windows rolled up. However, not everyone followed that rule. Then that night, the reason we went to South Africa in the first place, we went to the Passion City conference, and it was packed. It was awesome. They packed out the Loftus Stadium. Tim Tebow and his wife spoke. Of course, our preacher, Louis Giglio, spoke. The worship was beautiful. Messages were on point. I'm talking, it was just a beautiful, beautiful night. Tickets to get in were only $20, which is just amazing, and we got great seats. This memory is just going down in the books. Absolutely loved it. The next morning we got up, we flew, and I'm gonna try and say this, Fly Safe Air. We flew that over to Cape Town, South Africa. And let me just take a flight attendant moment for a second. I am a flight attendant, if you didn't know that. They board in the front and the back. Excellent boarding experience. They also deplane only 10 rows at a time. So they would say 1 through 10, you're welcome to deplane. Everyone else would just sit there and wait. It was great. So efficient. Let's bring this to the States. Okay, thanks for letting me get that out of my system. So we got into Cape Town. We got our car, which I screwed up on. I am usually really good about booking things. I'm very detail oriented, and I rented a Hertz car for 2 weeks after the day that we got in, which is just crazy. Like, I never do that kind of stuff, but when we got there, they're like, your rental car is for 2 weeks from now. I was like, great, so can I get another car? And they were like, we don't have any. It turns out Cape Town is a lot more touristy, so the cars book up much, much faster, and I went to like 3 different other establishments. They're all lined up there on the strip, and no one had a car, except finally Avis ended up having one, so we snatched whatever car we could get. Still a decently cheap option, but a little more expensive because that's all they had left. So there's your tip for the day. Please make sure and book that car ahead of time, because they really book up fast. But on that first day, as I always do, we took it easy. I'm talking a little bit of beach, a little bit of brunch, and another B word somewhere. I don't know, I couldn't fill it in. We just took it easy. After that, the next day though, we did go on a hike. Table Mountain. Y'all, we got up early and we took the gondola. I'm serious. The hike is insane. All right, I looked it up and it's like a 4-hour hike. No, it's an all-day hike. And if you've got legs of steel, great, go for it. Otherwise, take the gondola. There is still a hike up top, and the gondola experience is really cool. A lot of great sights, and it is a lot of hiking on the top still. I can't stress that enough. We spent probably 4 hours up there. Not something I would do again. Still cool experience for kind of a one-timer. And after that, we did the thing that I really wanted to do in Cape Town. We saw the African penguins, and y'all, they get close. It is not like here in the States. It's not like a zoo. I'm talking you wade into the water and they will literally swim past your leg. Look, this is actually a video right here. I'm in the water and there goes a penguin swimming right past my leg. Here's a couple pictures of me just next to a penguin, some footage I took of penguins just chilling near rocks, and they were so chill. Obviously, don't pet them, don't bother them. You can just be next to them, and they're pretty used to humans. After all of this, we did go through to the southernmost point of Cape Town to get a picture with the Cape Town sign. We ended up hiking and not finding the sign. Turns out you can just drive to the sign. We did not do a lot of prep work for that. This was my neighbor's idea. He really wanted to do this, and we just didn't really look into it. You also have to pay a fee to get into the park. Didn't know that. It really wasn't a big deal. It just kind of shocked us. And the hike was pretty quick because the day we hiked was the day I was leaving, like that night. So my flight was quickly approaching, and we were trying to find this sign. We finally found it at the very end, and we couldn't get to it without jeopardizing me making my flight home. But we hiked it. It was great. Oh, and then we also saw this baboon in the parking lot, which was super cool because that's not something you see here at home. So I boarded that flight that night, took it home. It was about a 13-hour flight back. I landed at 6:30 local time here in Atlanta, and I had to be at work at 7:30. So yeah, I had an hour to go through customs and get through everything and go to work. Tried to get the day off, couldn't get it off, so made it happen. Oh, and in case you were curious, I did make it to work on time, so great. Now, before I end this video, let me give you some overall tips to make your experience just as cool as mine, if not better. For example, book things early. You don't want things to book up, and they really do book up pretty quick. So you want to get online, book that. It's pretty standard across any travel destinations, but here, when you're doing these really cool, unique things to South Africa, they do book up very fast. Get a car, and that's at either location, Johannesburg or Cape Town. Driving is not difficult there. You do drive on the left-hand side of the road, which I did pretty good at. I only messed up twice where my neighbor had to say, Easton, whoa, hey, other side. Most cars are fair priced. Cape Town's a little more expensive. Johannesburg is very fair. Just know how to drive stick because automatic is a premium charge. Have cash on you, but card is widely accepted, so I would do like $100 US in cash. I did use Apple Pay quite a bit, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, and don't necessarily travel alone. We did pass by a couple signs as we drove that talked about this is a frequent hijacking area, which was wild to see, but it is true. I also personally don't think I would have had as much fun alone. You may be different. You may be one of those that's like, oh, I love traveling alone. I've never really done it that far away. I don't think I would really enjoy it, but maybe that's just me. And that's about it, y'all. That was my trip to South Africa. I hope you enjoyed it. Honestly, it feels good to be back. It really does. I hope I can get this video out quick, but make sure and like the video, y'all, subscribe, and I will talk to y'all next time. God be with you.